Hello everyone. How are you this Friday afternoon UK time? I hope you're doing well. My name's Carl. Welcome to our webinar here on the TEFL Org. We are a TEFL course provider. So we help people get into teaching English as a foreign language. This is a live question and answer session. So if you've got any comments at all about the presentation and the things I'm going to be talking about for the next 30 minutes, the topic of which is my life as a teacher of English as a foreign language, please put them in the chat. Also, please say hello wherever you are in the world. Please just tell us, because we really like to know where people are. I'm here in Northern Ireland. I've been lucky enough to teach in many places around the world, which I'm going to go into in a bit. And I just love to hear where people are, because I think it's just a great way for us all to get to know each other and see each other. So today's talk is basically me as talking about my experience as a TEFL teacher. And I currently work as a tutor here for the TEFL Org for any practical courses that happen in Northern Ireland. That's where I live at the moment. But previous to that, I did work in a few places around the world, and I just want to tell you all a bit about that. So if you've got any questions at all about anything that I am saying, anything at all that I have put on the screen, please put them in the chat and I will stop and try and answer them. I'm also going to show you some of the jobs that are available on our website, TEFL.org, but also on other websites that I believe you could do if you want to become a TEFL teacher in these countries. Hello, Ayushi in India. Hello, Jennifer in Mars. How's Mars this time of year? Abdul Wahab in Turkey. Jackie in Gloucester. Hi. Pulak in Bangladesh. Devon in Manchester. Duncan in East London, and all the other hellos. I hope you are all doing well. Arthur's in Belfast. You're down the road from me, Arthur. Right, okay, so let's get this screen sharing going here. Let me just have a look if I can get that going. Oops, I pushed the wrong button there. Yes, I did. Sorry, that's a great start, isn't it? Right, so my TEFL experience. Okay, Erin is running the chat today, so any links that get put in the chat, Erin will put them in there as we go along. Also, she's great at answering questions before I do. So thank you, Erin, for monitoring the chat for us. So first of all, how I got into TEFL. So basically, I didn't get into TEFL into my sort of early 20s. I'm now in my 40s. And so I've been teaching for sort of about 20 years-ish. I don't want to give you the full number. But what was the reason I got into it? And it was very simple, is I wanted to travel. I had no urge at all to be a teacher. I had no urge at all to, help students, this kind of thing. I just wanted to get out and see the world. I had this vague idea that I wanted to go to as many countries as I could. I even drunkenly down the pub, sat in London, said, I'm going to go to every country in the world. That hasn't quite worked. I've managed a good, I think it's 40 odd, but I didn't get to every country in the world, and I'm probably not going to now. So travel was the reason I got into it. I just decided that I was working as a DJ, believe it or not. I was also working as a travel agent, and I wasn't traveling enough as a travel agent. And I decided I wanted to travel and see the world. And it seemed that teaching English as a foreign language was a way to go. This was pre-Facebook, pre-Instagram. So I was just sort of doing probably a Yahoo search. I think it was even pre-Google. Yahoo search, just trying to work out some things. And teaching English as a foreign language seemed to be the way to go easily to see the world. And I still think it is. Even today in 2022, if you are all about traveling and you want to get abroad, I don't think you can go wrong with becoming a TEFL teacher. All right. So I didn't at that time think of it as a career. It has turned into my career, but at that time I didn't think of it as a career at all. I just thought it would just be a bit of fun. And I believe that's how most people get into teaching English as a foreign language. Okay. And not everyone makes a career out of it. I've got people who are on my training course who were out of TEFL within 2 or 3 years. I think there was one person that just did it in order to go away for 6 months. You can really spend as long as you want as a TEFL teacher, okay? I started without a degree. So I didn't have a degree at all then, okay? I had my high school leaving certificates, which are called A levels in the UK, basically. And I thought, yes, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just go and be a TEFL teacher, okay? I had no English language knowledge, none at all, okay? I didn't know about nouns, verbs, prepositions, articles, tenses, conjunctions, learning styles, grammar, different ways to teach grammar methods, that kind of thing. I had no idea. I had no idea about exams, nothing at all about that sort of thing. Okay. And I would say though that things are a bit different now. So everything I'm about to tell you, especially about the stuff at the start, it can be a little bit different now. And I'm just going to go into that a bit as well. Okay. So, oh, Jackie, question already, Jackie. Hello. Is age a barrier? So to do one of our courses, Jackie, you have to be, I think it's 16 years old, I think is the lower age. But if an upper age, Jackie, it really depends on the country you want to go to. So Europe, if you've got a European passport, no upper age limit. But parts of Asia does have an upper age limit in terms of getting the visa. So that could sort of be around this about people in their 60s, I think. You'd have to Google it for the country you want to go to, Jackie. All right. I'm currently in Northern Ireland working as a teacher, and I want to, when my daughter goes to university, in I don't know however many years this will be, I do have a dream in my late 50s of being able to go and do a couple more teaching sessions abroad. Okay, so that's what I'm hoping. Miki, can you still work as an English teacher without the certificate and a degree? You can work without a degree. Without a certificate is harder, Miki. I really don't think anymore you can work anywhere around the world without a TEFL certificate. It's very, very difficult. Without a degree, it's possible, but without a teaching certificate, it's pretty difficult. Okay. So saying that, Miki, my first teaching job was in South Africa a number of years ago. Okay. So this was actually pre-getting a TEFL certificate. I just went to this local volunteer place, and they said, oh, actually, we've got some jobs in South Africa if you want to go. And I went, yes. Bombed it to South Africa, where I actually worked as a computing teacher. This was in the very early days of Microsoft Windows and that kind of thing. Well, not the very early days of Microsoft Windows, but it was, Microsoft Windows was quite a novelty at that time. And I went over there and taught people how to type and how to use mice and how to use floppy disks and this kind of thing. All right. And that was good fun. I loved it. But then I came back and I got my first TEFL job in the UK. And that was at a residential summer camp. So there's lots and lots of summer jobs in the UK from June, July, August. There are loads. There's generally more jobs than there are teachers available. Companies struggle to recruit people, struggle to recruit enough teachers. Okay, so I got a job there. Before I had my TEFL certificate and before I got my degree. That was at a residential summer camp. Now, nowadays, they really don't take people on without a TEFL certificate because the regulations have tightened up a bit on that. The companies can't get a regulation, can't get the law, the certificate to get students unless they've got good teachers. So they only take people on with TEFL certificates. And I just want to give you like a little idea, okay? If you go to our website, TEFL.org, we've got at the top here, TEFL jobs. Erin, I don't know if you can make that bigger. Is that possible to make it bigger? At the top here, it says TEFL jobs. That's it. Get rid of me and make this bigger. And if you click on that, you'll be able to go into a section where you can choose countries. We've currently got loads of jobs on there for the summer, the UK this year. Now, you do tend to need to have the right to work in the UK. And you can see this one is a summer camp. It's 5 weeks long. You'll find jobs that are longer than that. This one's just 5 weeks, just one that I just took. There are ones that are 3 months, some that are 4 months. What tends to happen in these summer school jobs is they pay your accommodation, they generally pay your food, and then they give you a wage. This one pays £500 a week, $470 a week. And you have a lot of fun. You teach English in the morning. In the afternoons, you tend to play games, play sports with the students that come from Europe. You tend to also get to travel a bit around wherever you're based. So, for example, if you do one in London, you also get to take kids around, I don't know, Trafalgar Square. If you're in Edinburgh, you get to take the kids around the Edinburgh Castle, and that's all paid for you, that kind of thing. And just to sort of have a look, if you look, additional benefits, full board accommodation, full training provided, and you teach for 21 hours a week. And all you need there is a 120-hour TEFL certificate. You don't need a degree for that one, but you do need one of our 120-hour TEFL certificates. You can get that one on there. Now, again, look on our website. We've got lots of jobs like that. Okay, and what you need to do is just have a little look at them, see if that's the sort of thing you fancy. There's loads of them in the UK. All right, they tend to last 6 to 8 weeks, and after doing that for the first year, they said, right, if you come back next year, we'll let you manage this one. And I was like, wow, fantastic. So I got managing the summer camp the year after. So that involved things like recruiting the students, finding places for the students to sleep, homestays, working out the bus trips and all this kind of thing, and also a little bit of teaching. I really, really loved it. It's definitely something I recommend you doing in the UK. And you'll also see jobs available in Europe doing this. You'll also see jobs available in America doing this. Slightly less in Australia and New Zealand, but you'll definitely find them in America, Europe, UK, and Canada as well. Okay. Then, oh, sorry, I should get to some questions here. Let me see. Jenny, hello. You've got your degree and a TEFL certificate already. You're already teaching. For future planning, any advice on, do I need an additional certificate to teach IELTS students? I read this online and it drives me crazy. Some people think you need to have a special certificate in order to teach IELTS, okay? You don't need that at all, okay? What I would recommend you do, Jenny, is take an extra add-on module from someone like us in teaching exam classes, okay? That's an add-on module that we offer, okay? So that would allow you to teach IELTS. Now, look, allow you wrong. That will help you to teach better IELTS, Trinity, all these kind of things if you do something like that, okay? Miki, Asia, I'm getting to Asia. Give me a chance, Miki. Devon, you received your TEFL certificate last November. Brilliant. You're finally university this May. Brilliant. Indonesia is a great place. Where are you going to go? Bali, somewhere like that, Devon? That'd be amazing. Oh, you've got a follow-on question. Is it difficult getting a job without experience? No. What companies would I recommend that will employ those with no experience? So really, it depends where you want to go, Devon. Like, if you want to go to Indonesia, I personally don't know of a teaching company in Indonesia. But if you put into Google teaching jobs in Indonesia, if you look on our website, tefl.org, job center, you will find companies advertising in Indonesia. Okay. And they will say whether or not they need experience or not. So then I decided to go abroad. So I did go down the route because back then, decades ago, there weren't many jobs available without a degree. So you needed to really have a degree to get anywhere. Okay, that has changed. Now there are jobs available without a degree. I then did something called a CELTA because I didn't really know about these 120-hour courses that TEFL Org do. I think nowadays, if I had just had a degree, I wouldn't do a CELTA. I'd do something like one of these 120-hour certificates we do. But then I met a girl, and instead of going abroad, because she didn't want to go abroad, I got a full-time job in the UK. That didn't work out. I'm going to scoot past that. The full-time job, and I'm not going to scoot past, the full-time job was managing a language school in South. It didn't work out. So then I went back to my dream of moving abroad. I was on my own, so I moved abroad. I didn't really plan it at all. I just was like, I want to go abroad. I must go abroad. I've got to get out of here. And I just chose Vietnam because I saw a little documentary on it. It looked fun. It was fantastic. Okay. So working in Vietnam, I went to Ho Chi Minh City, which is in the south part of Vietnam. It's a party city. That's one of the reasons why I went there, to be honest. It's on the backpacker trail, so there's loads of nice pubs, bars, that kind of thing. There's beaches, there's clubs, that kind of thing. It's one of the reasons I chose there, and I had a great fun time there with lots of Westerners and Vietnamese people. It was one of the best years and a bit of my life. Okay, it's a really, really fun place to TEFL. I really do recommend it. Can be difficult at times, it's there's a lot of sort of administrative stuff that goes on. You can get a bit frustrated with how the locals, if you're not open-minded enough, which I wasn't in my early age, live, that kind of thing. But it is a really fun place to TEFL. There's loads of stuff. There's a great number of locations. There's real variety up and down the coast, in the north, in the south, definitely. It's also really well set up to travel. It was a couple of decades ago, and it will be now. It's really easy to get around, either with internal flights that are expensive. I had a motorbike and I drove around on my motorbike the whole time. I'm going to show you a picture in a minute. But also there's trains, there's buses, there's boats, there's ferries, loads of stuff. It's really well set up to travel. And generally, Vietnamese people are great fun. The students, I think, are great fun. They can be a bit quiet, but they're generally quite good fun. Okay. Vietnam always seems to be advertising, and there's always seems to be quite a lot of jobs available. So if you've got no experience, you probably will have to have a degree. You don't see many jobs available without a degree. But if you want to go somewhere that's fun, if you want to go somewhere where there's cities, beaches, mountains, it's a great place to go. There always seems to be advertising, such as this job here. So this is on our website, TEFL.org. Now, it says ESL. Don't worry about that. ESL and EFL are the same things, just Americans tend to call it ESL. Brits and Australians tend to call it EFL. It's the same thing. Our certificates let you go for ESL jobs as well. This is a job in Hanoi. Brilliant place. Lots of fun. It's full-time. You've got till July. You do need a degree, and you also need a 120-hour certificate. They'll help you to find accommodation. It's a 12-month contract, teaching 90 hours per month. That's a nice level of teaching. There's overtime rates. They cover your work permit. They travel they pay for Vietnamese holidays. They sort out your health insurance. All this kind of thing. So loads of good stuff here. Again, this is on our website, TEFL Jobs. Have a look at it, Vietnam. You'll be able to find that one. Okay. It's a great place. I can't tell you how much fun it is. You can be like me on a boat, eating some purple stuff that you had no idea what it was, drinking some sort of liquid that you had no idea what it was either. Yes, that's me. Now, I'm not a great photographer. I don't take very good photos. Okay? I apologise for them in advance. You could have a motorbike like this, which you drive up into the mountains on your own with no other Westerners or non-Vietnamese people to be anywhere near you. It's great fun. This was my motorbike, which I bought for $600. My biggest regret in life was selling that motorbike. I really wish I had it now. There you go. There's me on that motorbike. I didn't have a motorbike license. I didn't have insurance. Shh, don't tell my mum. And I was just up and about. Okay, it's just brilliant fun. I really recommend going to Vietnam if you can. Right, let me just stop there for a couple of questions. Where are we? Devon, I answered yours, and Kerry. Are there many job opportunities in the UK that are more of a full-time placement? Yes, I'm going to get into that in a bit because I'm in the UK now working full-time. Okay, Kerry, stay with us. I'll tell you about those. IDI or IDE, I'm sorry, I'm not pronouncing it right probably, am I? Do you have to be a student of TEFL.org? I'm guessing you mean us, TEFL.org, to apply for these jobs on your website. So you can view the jobs on our website for sure. If you're one of our students, then you need to log in to go through the details like that for sure. Yeah. If you don't have a TEFL certificate, you need to get a TEFL certificate to go for one of our jobs. Obviously, if they're advertising on our website, you know, they're linked. They're not linked to our certificate, but they know that they trust us and the teachers that we provide. Okay, does that answer your question, Iddy? I don't know. Arati, you've got a TEFL online. Can you get a job without going abroad? Yeah. So yes, if you want to teach online, as long as you've got a 120-hour TEFL certificate, hopefully with us, it's got to be a good one that is accredited, Arati, because companies want good quality ones. Then yes, you can go get a job that's online. Okay. Ayushi, if you want to go abroad as a native speaker, I've done videos about, and as a non-native speaker, I've done videos about this. Ayushi, there's loads of jobs available. Have a look through our videos that I did in the past. You'll see ones about those. Okay. Areti, what happens if you need to travel in Canada as I'm Canadian? Oh, you want to work in Canada? Yes, there's jobs available in Canada. So, Arati, what you need to do is contact local language schools and local colleges in Canada and see if there's any jobs. Those sort of jobs will be advertised. So, internal jobs will be advertised on specialized websites. Okay. Definitely. All right. So, Vietnam, great fun. Then I went to Japan. So, after about 15, 18 months, I decided to go to Japan. I moved over there with a company called Westgate. It's a really good company to get involved with to go to Japan. Japan, you do need a degree, but you can also, to get a full-time 12-month contract, you need a degree. But you can go to Japan on something called a working holiday visa. And that means you fly over there on a working holiday visa and you find work when you're there. I didn't do that. That's something that I might do nowadays. But I moved to Japan with a company called Westgate and they employed me full-time in a Japanese university and it was fantastic. Japan is a really, really great place to stay and work, all right? I then went freelance. So that was only for a 5-month contract. I then spoke to a couple of people that lived there a while and decided that actually not working for one company was a good way of doing it. What I decided to do, and you can, once you're in Japan on a work visa, you can get it changed to a freelance visa. You can't do it from outside Japan. You can do it when you're there. Well, that's the rules when I was there a number of years ago. It's hard work being freelance, but financially it was really worth it. I earned some pretty good money, upwards sometimes of 55, 60 pounds an hour as a teacher there. Okay, so Japan is expensive, but you can make some money over there as well. Great place, Japan. And I taught a variety of roles there. I taught business English, I taught academic English, I taught kids, I taught just speaking classes, I taught general English classes. I found work out there and it worked pretty well for me. Okay, I also worked for the British Council, which is a good company to get into long term. Tokyo is brilliant. It's the place that I would go back and live tomorrow if I had a chance. Okay, it's obviously massive. It can be expensive. You've got to pick and choose where you live, that kind of thing. But there's also outside of Tokyo, it's amazing. There's so many beautiful, amazing places to go to. All right. Now, the problem I had when I was there is I was there 15 months and then the big earthquake from a number of years ago hit. Right. And Tokyo became it shut down a bit because there was a bit of a threat of a nuclear Fukushima meltdown. No one knew what was going on. So I was freelance, which meant I was responsible for my own accommodation. I was responsible for my own outgoings, all that kind of thing. And I just lost work like that. Now, if I'd worked for a company, they would have carried on paying me. But I was freelance. That didn't work out. So I was in Japan, not knowing if there was a nuclear cloud about to hit the city where I lived, and spending quite a bit of money on accommodation with nothing coming in. And that started to worry me financially more than anything. Okay. So I had to leave Japan because of that. All right. But before I did that, I did manage to go to some sumo. I went to this golden temple in Kyoto. Kyoto is my favorite place in the world. Kyoto. It's amazing. And I also spent a bit of time in Tokyo. This is the big Tokyo Tower in the middle of Tokyo, which is, again, a great thing to go up and see. I also have loads of photos of me drinking sushi and drinking sushi, did I say? Drinking sake and eating sushi. Japan is party. I saw loads of good bands. But I also know people there that didn't get involved with the nightlife at all. They just wanted to just have a nice time in a really cool city, viewing all the cultural stuff. Brilliant. Okay. So Tokyo is a really good place for this. All right. I really recommend, if you're going to go into TEFL, at some point you get yourself to Tokyo. There, all right, definitely. Right. Just going to stop there for some questions. Answered Aretti's question there. Devon, online companies that will employ those with no experience. Well, there's lots of different ways of teaching online, Devon. That's what I would say to you is I've done videos purely talking about teaching online, because that's what I do good chunk of the time. So who to go work for? We've got a blog page about it as well. I think if you go to TEFL.org, if you click on blog and then you type in online teaching, list loads of companies. The companies tend to change, not because they go out of business, but they tend to, once they get fully hired in order they don't need any more teachers, then they stop advertising and another company comes along. So basically, Devon, it's whatever company is recruiting on our website at the time. Lots of them will take you on without any experience. They will. Okay. They really will. At the same time, you need to be setting yourself up as a freelancer if you want to do this long term. But I think you said you wanted to go to Indonesia, didn't you? I think. Yeah, Erin's put the link in the blog. Okay. Divya, what kind of degree do you need to work in Japan? Right. So when I say talking about degrees, you don't need a specific degree. Companies won't say you must have an English grammar degree. Companies won't say, we want you to have a teaching degree. I know people that have taught in Japan on engineering degrees, on art history degrees, on maths degrees. As long as you've got those degree letters, BA, BED, BSc, whatever it is, as long as you've got those letters after your name, that you've done a 3-year degree, Divya, they'll take you. Okay? Naomi, you're finishing your degree in May. You're hoping to get a TEFL certificate over the summer. When's May? Next month. Get on that TEFL certificate as soon as you can. That's what I recommend you. I was curious how much support there is in terms of mental health. So, look, there are private hospitals in Vietnam. So I did have some issues where I had to pay for a private hospital. I know lots of people also did that. If you're worried about that, Naomi, I would really check the insurance that you would get from a company. Most Vietnamese companies give you some sort of health insurance. See what's covered in that. Okay. Look, I would say, to be brutally honest, that the UK is quite far ahead in terms of being aware of mental health compared to other countries, especially in Asia. Okay. I just want to be open about it, Naomi. But what I would tell you is there's generally a lot of support from other teachers. There will be other Naomi Grant type people in Hanoi, Da Nang, Ho Chi Minh City, wherever you go. They can help you, I would say. They'd be your first. But I would also ask, if you see a job you like, I would email the company and say, hi, is it possible to have a Skype call with someone that already works there, just to sort of find that sort of stuff out. Okay. Juliana, you're a qualified teacher in South Africa. You live in the USA. You're a US citizen. You have your TEFL certificate. Where can I start to find a job? On our website, Juliana. Go to tefl.org. Click on the job center. Look for the jobs. There you go. Where do you want to go and work, Juliana? That's what I would say. The world's a big place. Go on our website. Look at the jobs. See which one you fancy. You've got yourself an American passport. That pretty much allows you to go anywhere in the world. Go for it. Okay. Jennifer, UK jobs. I'm going to get to that in a bit. Okay. Sarah, are opportunities available in India? Not really. East Africa. There used to be a lot of jobs in Sudan. There used to be some jobs in Somalia, but I'm guessing they've gone now from everything I sort of read about that region. Wait there. There used to be quite a lot of jobs in Tanzania. That might be somewhere that's worth looking for. I've not seen them advertised so much since COVID, Sarah. That's what I would say to you. India is very difficult because there's loads of really good Indian teachers in India. So they don't tend to want to recruit and pay for people outside of India. Okay. Murray, I don't know the percentage of people that find work abroad without a degree. I just know that when I train people without a degree, they get abroad. Just before my last training course I did, I trained up a guy from just outside Belfast here in Northern Ireland, no degree. He's now working in Greece. I don't know the percentage though. Sorry, Murray. Right, Japan. Let's say goodbye to Japan. And then I moved to Sri Lanka because remember I said that I had the problems with the nuclear cloud where lots of people have this problem, and which never actually came, by the way, but it just meant I lost loads of work. Companies shut down. People sort of left Tokyo a bit. There was a lot of worries. So I started then to get a bit serious as TEFL as a career. So before that, you know, I'd worked in South Africa, I'd worked in the UK a bit, I'd worked in Vietnam, I'd travelled loads of places, not working, but all around Southeast Asia whilst living in Vietnam. In Japan also, I, you know, sort of played around a bit and had a lot of fun with TEFL. But now I started to think, do you know what? This could be, I love this, I really like it. I want to go to a different part of the world. This could be a career. So I saw a job advertised in Sri Lanka. And Sri Lanka is a really great experience. Okay, it's really good fun. Okay, there's lots going on the island. There's a big contrast between rich and poor, that kind of thing. It's not the most party place in the world. A lot of the stuff, the fun stuff happens during the day on beaches and that kind of thing. It's not a big, you know, like if you want to go for a big party experience, definitely Thailand, Vietnam, Japan would be my choice for that. But it is a really good thing. It is also where I got my first supervisor experience in terms of I started to manage other teachers. So it's, as I said, it was the first sort of time when I thought, do you know what, I can make a career out of this. So I was put in charge of newly qualified teachers and I helped them with their lesson planning. I helped them with observations, that kind of thing. So that was good. It's relaxed as well. So you're in Colombo. Generally, the jobs are in Colombo. Some are in Kandy, but generally the jobs are in Colombo. And you go spend some time, you know, looking at temples, looking at beautiful beaches, and seeing some of the wildlife as well. So it is a great place. Sri Lanka currently has a lot of financial problems. So I could not find a job in Sri Lanka being advertised at the moment. But pre-COVID, I did see quite a lot going there. So it might be something that might come out again. I should have shown you a job in Japan, shouldn't I? Let me see. Can I find a job in Japan? Where's my job in Japan? Yes. So this one is on eslcafe.com, which again, if you've got one of our certificates, you could go work for. What do they want? They want a university degree. They want a TEFL certificate. So if you go and do one of our 120-hour TEFL certs, you would be able to do that. They pay you a nice salary. It's not quite in Tokyo, but bullet trains are really fast. You can get all around. There's overtime. They arrange your bank account, your work visa, all that kind of thing. Accommodation is arranged by the company. That's the sort of thing that I would go for now, to be honest. So there's jobs. This is being advertised at the moment to go work in Japan. All right. Sorry. So Sri Lanka. That's Sri Lanka. So, you know, financially, it's a difficult place to go to the moment, but it was definitely something that I enjoyed doing. Clayton, hello. You're a retiring teacher with 30 years experience in Puerto Rico. Oh, lovely. Native English speaker with over 120 hours TEFL. Is South Korea an option without a degree? South Korea is difficult without a degree, Clayton. They've really tightened up in the last 5-10 years for people without degrees. I would say you'd struggle. I'll be really honest with you. Clayton, I would think about going to Japan on a working holiday visa. I would also think about somewhere like Cambodia, if you fancy that. That could be fun. Right, so Sri Lanka, bye-bye. Then, because I was getting a bit serious, then I decided to come back to the UK and work. All right. Again, I was with a girl in Sri Lanka and that went bad. So I came back to the UK and I started running a summer school again, like I had done when I started. I really enjoyed it. Okay. Summer school stuff in the UK is really good. All right. But then I sort of fell into it a bit that I would stay in the UK full time, because there's jobs in the UK that are full time for sure. And it tends to be that you do, if you're going to go work for a university. Now, summer schools is different. Summer schools, you can just go work for on a 120-hour certificate. Lovely. If you've got the right to work in the UK. To go work for universities, you tend to need to have something, a post-grad level. Now, when I did it, there was no level 5 certificates like we offer here at TEFL Org. Okay. I did something called a Delta, and then I started working for my masters. Okay. Universities are the best way to get a good job in English-speaking countries. So I saw some questions there about living and working full-time in the UK. Definitely universities would be something that's worthwhile looking at if you want to work here full-time. The other options are to go work at local FE, further education colleges. So here in Bangor, about 500 meters that way is a college, and they do ESOL classes, which means you're teaching people English who are already here. It's quite well paid. It's quite good fun. I've done it here in the UK. Now, just to sort of show you about universities, the best website if you're looking to go work for universities is this one, BALEAP, barleap.org. Okay. And if you go to the jobs section here, you will see loads and loads of jobs being advertised at British universities. Nottingham, that one's actually for Dundee University in China, but then Loughborough University, Coventry University, London School of Economics. Those ones are in Kazakhstan. I did a short contract in Kazakhstan. It's great fun. Coventry again. Where else have we got here? Manchester, Middlesex, Reading. Loads of jobs available here. So go to baleap.org if that's the sort of thing that you want to look at. Okay. They do tend to want to have quite a high level of qualifications. Okay. But it's definitely something worth thinking about. All right. And when I was working for that university, they said, does anybody want to go and work in Iraq? Hello. Yes, I do. Because at that time I realized that I'd gone from my plan of just being a traveler to being someone that was back in my hometown teaching, and I needed to get abroad again. So I decided to go and work in Iraq. Now, I would say that obviously Iraq is not everyone's cup of tea. Not everybody wants to go and work in Iraq and thinks it's a great idea. I loved it. It was brilliant. I'd go back there. When I was there, we also had some issues with Islamic State. Luckily, I was okay. But you've just something to be aware. You've got to have a sense of adventure. The places where I taught before, Japan, Vietnam, Sri Lanka, and then traveled around the places, you know. So I traveled to Thailand, I traveled to Singapore, Malaysia, all this kind of thing in my holidays. They're great. They are brilliant. Somewhere like Iraq, you've got to have a bit of a sense of adventure to go there. The students were amazing, the best students I've ever taught. And of course, the money's not bad. Okay. Very, very, very motivated students. Some of the most motivated students I've ever met. Okay, in Iraq. They were brilliant. I still talk to a lot of them now. It's also an interesting place to move around. I didn't get to Baghdad because at that time it was a bit off limits. But getting around Iraqi Kurdistan was great. And, you know, there's these beautiful palaces type things. If you look very closely, they've got the air conditioning added that you can go to. And you're sort of on your own a lot of the time. This is like this big waterfall complex just outside Erbil where the people like to climb and just sit in the waterfalls. There's obviously also really nice markets, that kind of thing, that you can go and have a look at. All right. It's really good. Now, believe it or not, there are quite often jobs advertised in Kurdistan. Here is one on our website again, TEFL.org. In Erbil, which is where I was, this really cool city. It's brilliant. It's a 12-month contract. You do need a degree for this one. I would say that's negotiable. If I didn't have a degree and I wanted to go there, I would think about it. There's loads of stuff, you know, transportation, medical insurance, holidays, that kind of thing. All right. So definitely something that's worth looking at and thinking about if you want to maybe be a bit more off the beaten track. It was fantastic. Okay. I haven't got any photos of me really in Kurdistan. All right. Sorry. Erin, who's monitoring the chat, she always asks me for photos to put for the marketing, and I always disappoint her. Probably don't disappoint you though by not having a photo of me. So we did Iraq, and Iraq was great. I loved it. And it was fantastic. All right. Then Azerbaijan. I went to Azerbaijan, and it was great. Azerbaijan was another place that's a bit off the beaten track. Again, it's an interesting place that you might not have thought of going to. Okay. And I lived in Azerbaijan with my wife, who I'm now married to, who we met in Iraq, and we went there together. I worked as a senior teacher there for the British Council. So I was in charge of things like timetabling, in charge of recruiting some teachers in terms of doing, you know, like sifting through the CVs, that kind of thing, doing the interviewing, observations, that kind of thing. Now, there's actually a variety of jobs available in Azerbaijan. If you want to go work in Azerbaijan now, you can, like, for example, I found this one. Again, this is on eslcafe.com. Loads of, you know, there's loads of stuff there. Benefits, career paths, accommodation, flights, all this kind of thing. There's jobs available in Azerbaijan, something that's worth looking at, something that's worth thinking about. It's interesting, Azerbaijan. Is it the most fun students I've ever met in my life? Probably not. Is it the most fulfilling teaching I've ever done in my life? Probably not. Tended to be towards quite rich people who'd made quite a bit of money off oil, and they had quite high expectations. Up here, there is a plaque that I got from a group of students who were Azerbaijani judges. That was the worst class I've ever taught in my life. It was so difficult. They some reason thought I was really good and gave me a plaque at the end. I really didn't like them. But it was good, and again, it was generally well paid. For my time in Iraq and my time in Azerbaijan, I came back with a house deposit for the UK. All right, and you know, Azerbaijan, again, it's a bit off the track. You don't get loads of tourists going there, so you can get to places and you're like the only tourist there. It's amazing. Here's me at an Azerbaijani wedding. With this lady here was called Vafa, and she was one of our best friends there. She took me up to her brother's wedding. It was amazing, and they all dance like this, like that, and they don't really. And then some of them go a bit crazy and have loads of energy. And there was me, just waving my arms a bit with a professional cameraman. Then in Azerbaijan, there is, in Baku, which is the capital, there's these, they're called the Flame Towers. They're worth Googling. And at night time, they light up. And people walk along here as well. And there we go. That's Baku. It's an interesting sort of place. However, I was going to stay there for a bit and keep the money coming in with my wife. At that time, we were married and my wife was pregnant. But the British Foreign Office at the time sent out a tweet about Azerbaijan that the Azerbaijani government didn't really like. And after that, it turned out that I kind of lost the job pretty quickly. So my wife was pregnant and we had to sort of leave Azerbaijan. And we decided when you're pregnant, you got a baby on the way, it does kind of limit your options. We moved back to the UK. So I came back to the UK and I initially went back full-time at a university. So I found a university job that took me on full-time. Brilliant, fantastic, it was great. However, it's difficult in parts of the UK to buy houses, that kind of thing. So I decided to go freelance. In order to do that, I couldn't stay in London because it was too expensive, really, and I couldn't take the risk. So I moved to Northern Ireland, bought the house, and decided to go freelance. So this was about approaching 10 years ago. What I started to do then was get into online teaching. Way before COVID, I got into online teaching. Before online teaching was cool, I was online teaching. I had my own website. I found my own students. Fantastic. I also did things like proofreading, where students would send me essays and I would check them for content. I would check them for if they're answering the question, grammar, paragraphing, that kind of thing. And I still do all of this as well. I do teacher training here for TEFL Org, which I love. Probably my favorite thing to do. I do English examining. So pre-COVID, they used to send me to Europe, India, China to go abroad there and do the examining abroad. Fantastic. It was amazing. COVID came and now that's all gone online. Obviously, I don't get to travel as much, but I still enjoy it. And I also have done, again, COVID has kind of stopped that. I've done some short-term contracts. So I've done short-term contracts teaching in Kazakhstan. I did a short-term contract teaching in Spain and Italy. I've also done a short-term contract in Turkey. Again, these were sort of 1 month, 2 month contracts. And they have tended to have gone since COVID's come. I'm hoping they'll come back. But COVID is still around in big chunks of the world. So, that's kind of it. So UK definitely has lots of opportunities for sure. What advice would I give myself? I'm coming to the end now. So if there are any more questions, please put them in there. Oh, Sarah, there's some questions already there. When I say ran a summer school, did I employ other teachers? Yes, I did. Yep. So the summer school, the owners would put the adverts up for the summer school and the CVs would come in and I would interview them and I would talk to them, that kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I employed other teachers. Yeah. I also did that a bit in Azerbaijan as well. Okay. Marlene, hello. You're just about to choose a TEFL course. Do I know if there's more demand for online or for classroom teaching jobs in the UK? You want to work part-time? Both, Marlene. If you want to work in the UK, definitely you need to, you could do a bit of both. I think really, look, if you want to work in the UK full-time, the best opportunity is to go work full-time for an ESOL college or full-time for university. Brilliant. Next, after that, you sort of do a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of this and a bit of that as a part-time freelancer, basically. So like I do, I go and work locally for a local college. I also do online exams. I also teach online. Okay, so I think there's a bit of both. I don't think there's more demand one over the other. I see both advertised all over the place, Marlene, okay? You're probably going to earn more per hour working face-to-face in a college. Okay. Divya, is there a restriction on getting a job because you're dyslexic? No, I'm dysgraphic, Divya. Never had it. It's never come up in an interview at all, ever. Mickey, does a level 5 course give you a degree certificate as well? No, to get a degree certificate, you got to go to university and do a degree. Right, so what advice would I give myself if I was starting again now? I would, first of all, take more photos. Just looking through the photos for this, there was loads of places where I didn't have any photos. Take more photos and be better at taking photos. You've got to remember this, a lot of this was pre-Facebook, pre-Instagram, I didn't even have a camera phone when I first started teaching. All right, so I know, can you imagine people used to do that? Upload to the cloud. What is that all about? So take more photos. It can be a career. If you want to make a career out of this, it can definitely be done. Definitely worth thinking about. Okay. Be open to staying longer in places. So I kind of left Vietnam a bit too quickly. I probably could have got through it in Japan if I just sort of stayed about another 2 or 3 weeks longer. And I regret leaving Japan a bit too early. As fun as it was and as great as everything else that's come after it is, but maybe be open to staying longer in places. But also be aware you may on rare occasions have to leave. So obviously COVID is a big thing like this. Lots of people working in China, COVID came and is still there if you sort of believe that, well, I mean, it is there, but they obviously locking down a bit more. They're a bit more stricter than other parts of the world. You may have to leave because of things that are out of your control. Okay, when you're abroad, you just might have to. This is rare and probably didn't help that I went to places like Azerbaijan, Iraq. Okay, but on rare occasion you might have to leave. Keep learning and keep studying. Don't just think if you're going to make this long term or you want to be a good teacher, just having a 120-hour certificate is enough. You've got to keep learning. You've got to keep studying. Take any training opportunities. In Vietnam, they offered to train me up as a business English teacher and I didn't do it, the company I worked for. Why didn't I do that? I have no idea. I know because I wanted to go out partying really and it took up time that I could have spent in the pub. But take any training opportunities that you could get involved and just go for it. You know, just look back now. If I could speak to 20-year-old Carl, I would say go for it. Still keep doing it. Don't sit on the fence. Just go for it. Okay. Right, I think that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for listening to me this whole time. Hope it was enjoyable. I hope it was interesting. If there's any more questions there, I don't think there are. I think I managed to get through them all as we've gone around. We've had a good hour together, so thank you very much if you're still listening. Please put in the chat where you want to go in the world. We read them all. If you want to know more about us, go to our website, tefl.org. You can also send us a message. We read all the messages. If you want to send me a private message, you've got something you want to know more about, then please go to Facebook page, send us a private message on our page. We also have a group, a TEFL Org group. That's worth joining. I monitor that. I can answer any questions as well. But our website has loads more information, especially on the blog pages. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for paying attention. I hope you have a nice weekend wherever you are in the world. And just look after yourselves. Okay. If you're thinking about becoming a TEFL teacher, just go for it. That's all I'd say to you. Go for it. Cheers, everyone. Bye.